So here we have Suzuki DF250 variable cam timing sprocket. It says do not disassemble, but if you've had the saltwater milkshake in your engine, or a big failure like I had, you want to disassemble it and clean it. So the only marks you have to worry about is there's a sprocket and housing mark. You can only go together one way. So I've loosened these off. That's a 1/4 inch socket. These have been cleaned up. I just realised that the only thing you can stuff up with assembly is there's plastic, like spring-loaded plastic seals between the chambers. Apart from that, it's foolproof. I'll post a picture of which way they go. So the top comes off. I'll put Loctite blue in there. So they're the seals I was talking about. You can pull them out very carefully with a pick tool. They slide out and they've got a little spring on them. 3 of them. And then to get the rotor out the centre, there's a locking pin. You put compressed air on that and it'll pull and locking pin. So that's when the engine's shut down, it locks. Once it starts and gets oil pressure, as per the manual it says it's variable cam timing the whole time. So you put air on that and you can move it and then slide the rotor out. And that's it. To go back together, you just need to take a photo. These have got like a T on one end and a T and a hole, well, like a lump and a hollow at the other. So before you disassemble it, make sure you take a photo because you can see, looking down from the top, which way they have to go around and where they're located. Everything else works as long as you realise that the 2 marks, there's one there and one there, have to line up with the arrow on the outside, and it can only bolt up one way. If you line up the wrong mark, you can't bolt it together. And that's it. So for reassembly, you can see this one, where the oil gallery is, there's a small hollow there. The other ones look flat from the top, so that's the right way to reassemble. Lucky I took photos. All I've done is put the rotor in and the seals, and the pin, the locking pin is out, but you can see here, I'll just slide it around. This can only go in one way too. There's a washer on the other side. There you go, it's clicked shut. Now this can't come out. And there's a washer that I was telling you about. So it sits in there and has to go in the rotor before assembly. And then that's it. This bolts together. I cleaned it out with diesel. It was full of crud, and then ultrasonic cleaned everything. And it looks worse than it is. I think it'll be fine. A very expensive part. I think they're about 500 Australian each. So yeah, good thing to disassemble if you've had a major failure or you have concerns about cleanliness in your engine. So there they are, all assembled. Yeah, so I couldn't find any information online. The workshop manual says do not assemble and they are unserviceable. But there's no O-rings or any bits to worry about in there. I'm sure they'll be fine. So for torque settings, there's nothing I can find. I've put them together, parts cleaned the bolts and put them together with Loctite blue. You could probably go Loctite red. They shouldn't come apart. And torque setting was the old 3-finger method. taking into account how hard it was to undo the bolts. So do so at your own risk. I hope it helps someone out. There's surface rust on, there was surface rust on anything metal in my engine. It had a head gasket failure and leaded to destruction.